Sounds good. Alrighty, folks, it is a pleasure to call the March 2021 meeting of the Board of Legislators to order. We will begin by the preamble. The meeting is being conducted under the extraordinary circumstances of public health emergency COVID-19 and under Governor Cuomo's executive order 202.1 without permitting public in-person access to the meeting, authorizing the meeting to be held partially or completely with members appearing by remote conference call or similar service. And the meeting is being live streamed via the web and recorded, including the participation of members appearing by remote link. With that said, roll call of members, please. Mr. Hagman.
One more time.
You cannot hear me? Roll call of members.
Oh, thank you. I didn't hear you.
Okay.
Legislator Reed.
Here.
Nebawanik. Jackson.
Here.
Harris.
Here.
Johnson.
Here.
Monticelli.
I'm here.
McBride.
Here.
Pelarco.
Here.
Peck.
Here.
Jarrow.
Here.
Cantwell.
Here.
Drake.
Here.
Dodo.
Here.
Bray.
Here.
14 present.
Okay. Is there any additions, deletions, or corrections to the minutes as they were presented? Hearing none, and there's no objections, then they'll stand as presented. Okay. Presentations of petitions, notices, and communications.
We have two this evening. First, we're in receipt of the annual report for the Jefferson County Clerk's Office for 2020. And also we had a communication from the Ag and Farmland Protection Board encouraging Jefferson County to direct future solar developments towards brownfield sites in areas of marginal agricultural soils and land, and in so doing preserve farmlands for future generations.
Okay, sounds good. Reports of standing committees.
We have a report from the Finance and Rules Committee reporting favorably on resolutions number 67, 69, 74, 75, and 78.
Okay, reports of county officers and others.
There are three. First, we have a report from the county treasurer on insurance investments on cash on hand, a report from the county administrator on transfers from a prior month, and a report of the county auditor on erroneous assessments.
Okay. Local laws and resolutions and motions. Resolution number 61.
Authorizing agreement with Maximus Incorporated for professional services relative to the development of cost allocation plan.
Discussion? None? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
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 Opposed?
Aye.
Opposed? None. Okay, carried. Resolution number 62.
Reappropriating funds from the Center for Tech and Civic Life and amending the 2021 county budget in relation thereto.
Okay, this is a roll call vote along with the others that are in the agenda, and we will defer all the roll call votes till the end of the meeting. And if anybody wants one extracted, we will vote on that separately. So discussion on resolution number 62. Hearing none. Resolution number 63.
Authorizing the chief elected official local agreement under the Workforce Innovation and Opportunities Act of 2014.
Discussion? None? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed?
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Resolution number 64.
Establish a time and place for public hearing related to the 2020 Community Development Block Grant process.
Discussion? None? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Resolution number 65.
I suggest you.
Requesting the New York State Legislature to provide level funding for the Northern New York Agricultural Development Program for the fiscal year 2022 state budget at $300,000.
I'm trying to
Discussion here.
see you.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I just type in the chat.
Discussion? Thank you, Jimmy. Discussion?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, go ahead, Mr. Peck.
just want to reflect some comments on this. So certainly the Northern New York Agricultural Development Program is something that's pretty instrumental for local farms in our region. A lot of the research that gets done outside of this area is done in a very different climate, very different topography compared to our soils. And this is a project that works throughout the upper part of New York State. So this affects from Essex all the way over to us. So it's a very diverse type of ag funding, and very significant to a lot of the farmers and the variety of agricultural producers, both in the Adirondacks and over into our region. So it's unfortunate that every year the governor does not see the value of this program, so the state legislature has to inject the money back into the program. So that's why this resolution is coming forward, and I sincerely hope for its support and success in Albany. Thank you.
Thank you. Further discussion? None? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Resolution number 66.
Authorize an agreement with the New York State Division of Criminal Justice Services in relation to aid to prosecution program.
Sorry, Jimmy, you're texting me. So, discussion? None? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Resolution number 67.
Reappropriating funds from various unspent grants relative to the Fire and Emergency Management Department and amending the 2021 county budget in relation thereto.
Discussion? None? Okay. Resolution number 68.
Authorizing shared service agreement with the New York State Department of Transportation in relation to transportation emergencies.
Discussion? None? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Resolution number 69.
Authorizing the implementation and funding in the first instance 100% of the federal aid and state aid Marchicelli program aid eligible cost of a transportation federal aid project, appropriating funds therefore, and amending the 2021 county budget and capital plan.
Discussion? None? Okay. Resolution number 70.
Authorizing agreement in relation to the state Alternatives to Incarceration program funding.
Discussion? None? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Resolution number 71.
Authorizing agreement with Credo Community Center for the provision of court-ordered evaluations, assessments, treatment, and counseling.
Discussion? None? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Resolution number 72.
Authorizing agreement with the New York State Division of Criminal Justice Services in relation to aid to defense program.
Discussion? None? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Resolution number 74.
73.
73, Scott.
73 works too.
Authorizing agreement with the New York State Office of Indigent Legal Services.
That's why that last resolution didn't sound right. I was looking at 73. So, discussion? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Resolution number 74, again.
Reappropriating funds from various unspent Homeland Security grants relative to the Sheriff's Department and amending the 2021 county budget in relation thereto.
Mr. Gero.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Can we pull this one out of the roll call votes? I'm going to be voting against this, and I'm not going to vote against the other one. So,
Very well. We'll do that.
You want to do the
Thank
roll
you.
call now?
Just do the roll call right now then.
Yeah, okay.
works for me.
Further discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Legislator Ferris,
Yes.
Drake,
Yes.
Maxon,
No.
Alarco,
Yes.
Dildo,
Yes.
Nevelonik,
Yes.
Reed,
Yes.
Cantwell,
Yes.
Gero,
No.
Johnson,
Yes.
Monticelli,
Yes.
McBride,
Yes.
Heck,
Yes.
Gray.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Resolution number 75.
Authorizing intermunicipal agreement with the City of Watertown regarding the fiscal year 2020 Edward Byrne Memorial Justice Assistance Program and amending the 2021 county budget in relation thereto.
Discussion. None? Resolution number 76.
You vote?
Roll call. That's roll call. 75.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, you're right.
Oh, that's okay. So 76.
Authorizing agreement with the City of Watertown for transportation services for the elderly.
Discussion. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Carried. 77.
Authorizing agreement with Samaritan Medical Center for the use of facilities to the medical examiner program.
Discussion. None? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Resolution number 78.
Amending the 2021 county budget relative to additional revenue from the Redlick Heritage Foundation and Family First Readiness Funding.
Discussion? Hearing none. Okay, we'll have a roll call vote on resolution 62, 67, 69, 75, and 78, if I got them all correct.
Legislator Peck,
Yes.
okay. Blarco,
Yes.
Bildo,
Yes.
Gero,
Yes.
Nevelonik,
Yes.
Reed,
Yes.
McBride,
Yes.
Monticelli,
Yes.
Ferris,
Yes.
Maxon,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Cantwell,
Yes.
Drake,
Yes.
Gray.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, that concludes local laws, resolutions, and motions. Is there any other business to come before the board this evening?
Yeah. Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
I would like to still move that resolution that I presented earlier it came in late, but I would like to waive the standing rules to adopt the New York State Public High School Athletic Association guideline for the return to interscholastic athletics, and I'd like to waive the standing rules to do that.
I would second that, Patrick.
Okay.
Second by Ferris, please.
Yeah, we got that. Okay. So is there, so we have a motion and a second. All in favor of waiving the rules?
Aye.
Mr. Chairman, can we
Aye.
do that by roll call?
Pardon?
Can we do that by roll call?
Sure.
Legislator Drake,
Yes.
Blarko,
Yes.
Nebewanik,
Yes.
Doldo,
Yes.
McBride,
Yes.
Cantwell,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Harris,
Yes.
Heck,
Yes.
Maxon,
Yes.
Reed,
Yes.
Jelly,
Yes.
Gerald,
Yes.
Gray.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Okay. And then we'll have adopting the New York State Public High School Athletic Association guidelines for the return of interscholastic sports.
Yes, I'd like to move that, please, Mr. Chairman.
Okay.
I'd like to second that, Maxon.
So, okay. Discussion.
Chairman,
Yes, go ahead, Mr. Monticelli.
what is the difference between this resolution and what's transpired in your press release of earlier?
Nothing that I'm aware of, but I don't know what the provision is. I haven't really read the resolution, so I don't know what the provision is in case we start seeing cases go back up and our positivity rate starts to increase. So I don't know what the provision is. I don't know what we're going to have to do because if you look at other areas, Oswego's pointed out many times to me today, as many as others, but there's a lot of provisions in their measures that put everything back on pause. This doesn't address that at all.
Well, Chairman, I have to vote no on this resolution, not because I disagree with it, but because it's the last minute. We've already addressed this, and all of a sudden we're going to have something now, a legal binding obligation that isn't a matter of a press release, but ends up a resolution of the board. So I'm going to vote no.
Did you have your hand up, Mr. Joe?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. I would just like to point out it certainly can be amended. Mr. Monticelli is right. It is last minute. But it certainly can be amended here now to add any provisions like that you mentioned. I'd certainly entertain any amendments. I'm sure there's some typos in it. So, yeah, I mean, let's feel free to look at the amendment or look at any amendments that might be warranted.
Well, I just simply ask you, what do you think is a safe level that we would have to, start to retract everything? What do you deem safe out there, and what do you deem to be a situation that is warrants putting things on pause and warrants drawback or retraction of this? You're the author of this, I assume.
Yeah, you're asking me directly?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So, I mean, my thought always is that it should be left to the districts. The districts, I mean, we might have one individual district at a higher level than another in a different part of the county, and the district should be certainly more than able, as well as we are, to know what's best for them. They don't have any. We don't have any degrees in virology any more than they do. So I think I would leave that up to the districts individually. This does not handcuff the districts. It just basically gives them some guidance that they've been, searching for. So, I mean, and with that, that's my answer to your question. But since you brought up the question, I'd say, I mean, if you want to put an amendment in there, I'd be certainly happy to entertain one. What's your thought on the situation?
I have a thought.
Hold on. I will address that. And the first is I would suggest that we talk to public health, maybe seeing how they're the authorities on this virus, and find out what they consider to be a very healthy and safety situation, because they're the ones that have to manage this, and they're the ones that have to bring this home. They're the ones that have to make sure that the community is safe. So maybe we should include them in terms of consulting with them and say, okay, at what point do you figure we are, we know what rate of transmission is, right? When we get over 1, we're in trouble. When we get to 1.2, we're in deep trouble. positivity rate that's being, and they have the network of people. The Nice HO network is consulting on plus the 7 county public health directors are consulting. So perhaps we should consider consulting with our public health department before we do something like this. That would be my thought. Mr.
Well,
Chair?
certainly, if this is a back and forth, I'm sorry I butted in if it isn't, but, the rate of transmission is certainly, a metric that definitely should be looked at. And if somebody else wants to add that, into this resolution, I don't have any problem with that. And I think, anything over a 1, the districts certainly should be looking at how to contain, transmission at that time, certainly. Positivity rate, I think that's a bogus metric, and I don't think we should be using that for anything. That so much hinges on the testing and who is being tested at the time. I think that I just think that's a ludicrous metric. But yeah, so if you want to amend the resolution to add rate of transmission as a tripwire, I don't have any issue at all with that.
What I said is that we should consult, among other things, with the public health department. They're the ones that have been charged. Okay, the 15 of us are not necessarily running this operation. They're the ones that have been charged with managing this operation from day one. They're the ones that have been working 6 and 7 days a week, very long hours. They're the ones that understand epidemiology more than any of us do here. And I'm just saying, I think you should be consulting, we should be consulting with public health to put something in that resolution that would be appropriate to say, at what point do you feel that you can manage this situation to keep our community safe, that we should put things back on pause? They're the ones that are in charge of that.
Okay, and I totally understand what you're saying, and I agree with you for the most part. I think we should always be in consultation with our professionals. I also don't think that we should, delegate our decision making to them as well. So yes, we certainly can listen to our professionals, and I think we should always. So
you're not delegating that decision, with all due respect, Mr. Gerald.
I'm sorry, I didn't understand. I didn't hear you. Sorry,
With
Scott.
all
Go ahead.
due respect, you're not delegating that decision making, right? You're consulting with the people that are the professionals in this.
That's what I said.
Right.
That's exactly what I said, Mr. Chairman.
Right, and that's what I'm saying. Well, you say we shouldn't be delegating to them. I'm saying we're not delegating. I'm saying we should consult with them before we pass this resolution. Mr. Ferris?
Mr. Chairman, if this is Legislator Peck, if I can interject for a second.
No, we're going to keep some semblance here. Mr. Ferris.
I need to be excused. I have an emergency going on out in the barn, so I request excusal. I have a birthing to attend to.
Well, we hope everything comes out okay.
How do I top what he just did? I mean, I got to go upstairs because my dinner's ready. So, anyways,
we have Mr. Ferris, and then we have Mr. Navalanek.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. First of all, I want to say thank you for the graceful way that you presented yourself this week and the last couple weeks. My goal is, as I've stated multiple times in conversations, to get the schools and athletic programs open. And I understand your goal is to do it safely. So I want to commend you on the work that you've been doing, and thank you for getting us to this point. It'd been great if we could get there faster, but I understand that the public health is doing the best they can to control the spread, and I want to thank them as well. I would simply say to you that the schools should be able to understand when it's necessary. A couple of the emails and texts that we sent back and forth, and you would say, so-and-so school just found the cases and they shut the program down. I have faith that the schools will be right there as partners with public health to find out whether or not it's unsafe for their schools to go further. And I have a lot of faith in Ginger Hall to believe that she would make the right call as well. I understand why Pat wants to bring this legislation forward tonight, and I also understand why you want to put the brakes on it and bring it forward. I did say put the brakes. Go ahead, Mr. Chairman. Correct me.
I'm not, what I'm saying is that I think so if you do this, you have no provision right now for anything to happen other than sports going full bore. If you pass a resolution, there's no way, there's no mechanism in here that says sports. There's nothing in this resolution that I'm getting it minutes before the meeting when I have an interview. So I don't see anything in here that allows sports to go on pause if there's a problem, whether it's a district or not, whether it's just an individual district or not. This says they can continue to operate regardless of the public health situation. All I'm saying is that I'm not opposed to this resolution. All I'm saying is that you consult with your public health department.
And I understand where you're coming from, and I don't want to disagree with you on that. I think it's very important to keep them involved. I also think it's important to move forward. So I'm just telling you, I understand that there's two sides of this coin, and I totally get it. I'm just saying that I think we can handle it moving forward. You bring up a good point, and I'm just letting you know that
we're moving forward as fast as we can. This all starts and stops with individual behavior, and we had a very high rate going. We had, our rate was, our rate of transmission was 1.26. We were, busting loose with cases. It all starts and stops. We can say people died in a nursing home, but it got into a nursing home somehow. Okay, so that all comes out from the community. So all I'm saying is that generally there's got to be some mechanism to protect your community. So, Mr. Nabwan, you're next.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Monticelli, I also agree with you. I'm not a fan of last minute resolutions and stuff. However, I do support this. The reason being is I feel on this issue alone, it feels like we are being put in the middle here. And I have faith in that the superintendents will do the right thing, following these guidelines that we are, the New York State Public Health Scholastic Association guidelines that is in Mr. Jarrow's resolution here, that they are well capable of following these guidelines. I feel like we are being put in the middle of this, and we don't need to be so much in the middle of this. Just like I run a business, a lot of us out here running businesses, we have to manage, keep our environment safe and stuff. A lot of this is on these stakeholders to do such. And I think that they are more than capable at the school level to do a professional job in protecting their students, and that we don't have to be hovering over every decision on this. There's got to be some, we're at the point, I feel, with this, this issue to give more ownership to the school districts to run this and manage this and to do a good job. We can step aside on some levels to here. I'm not saying we're turning over everything to they're going to follow these guidelines. To me, this is a lot of common sense. Once again, I do want to say, I know a lot of us have been on the phone with some state officials today, and this has all come down fast and furious, but I just feel it's a point to move this issue along and to give more back to the school districts to help manage this solution. And I have faith they're going to do the right thing. There are kids that are out there and stuff, and I also know how a lot of the parents feel. I had I attended all my kids' stuff from 6th grade on up, and I enjoyed thoroughly every minute of going to all these games and stuff. So I can understand from a parent standpoint as well. So that's what I have to say about it. I do support bringing a resolution forward. Like I said, normally I don't in the last minute here, but I've been in contact with several board members today and trying to work this issue along with, working at my other business and stuff. So I'll end it there. Okay.
So everything that you wanted, Mr. Nebelnik, we have accomplished today by simply just altering the guidelines, but it's not binding in a resolution, and that therefore it gives our public health some latitude to manage this situation. I think Mr. Maxon, then Mr. Jarrow.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I agree with a lot of what Mr. Nabwanek said, and I appreciate that that he said it so eloquently. I think the most important part of this resolution is that it specifically points the responsibility at the school districts. It isn't the role of the county public health department. It isn't the role of the board of legislators, and it's not the role of the chairman of the board, even in an emergency, to decide what is safe for our children and for our parents. At the end of the day, whether or not the schools allow attendance, whether or not the schools allow school sports, the parents are the ones who are in charge of where their children go and where they go. They place that trust in their school board, in their superintendents, and they are far more capable of making nimble decisions than we are. I think that it's a virtue that this is a resolution. Again, to follow up on comments that I made last month, this is a democracy. We function not by executive order. We function not by diktat. We function by resolution. And the people have asked. We have excellent guidance that's been provided by the Athletic Association. And we recognize that the schools are the best informed and the best on the ground to enforce these, whether or not they have sports practices, competition, and attendance at their events. I will be supporting the resolution.
Mr. Joe? You're on mute. You're on mute.
I'm very sorry. So, I thank you very much for recognizing me again. And Mr. Max and Mr. Nabowanic both brought up good points, and they go right back to answer your question on the subject of consulting public health. The individual districts should be consulting public health. Alex Bay might have different circumstances than Belva Henderson or South Jefferson or Sackett's Harbor does. We're not creating a barrier between public health and the districts with this resolution, certainly. So, we don't need to set up tripwires necessarily. The school districts are responsible for and much more reactive to the actual needs of their students and their staff and their taxpayers and their parents. So this doesn't create any barriers from the guidance from public health. If anything, it just allows the boards of educations and the superintendents and their administrations to do what they need to do to have a fully functioning school district according to the desires and the safety of their own constituents. So again, we're not creating any barrier between public health and the districts or any other sports organization. And I just wanted to bring that to everybody's attention. So thank you.
Sounds good. Okay.
Chairman Drake?
Oh. Yes, Mr. Drake, go ahead.
This is Dan.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I think there was something in that provisions that said if the schools go 100% remote, then the sports stop. I think that was in that document.
It was.
So if the cases went up per your concern and the school has to go back to remote, then the athletics ceases.
Is that in the New York State Public High School?
I believe so. I don't have the document in front of me, but I think it said if they go back to 100% remote, that the athletics have to stop.
We have that in our guidance anyhow. So
okay.
Issued by Public Health. So that still remains. We're not erasing anything that Public Health has issued heretofore. So
Is that Mr. Drake waving his hand?
yes, Mr. Drake, yeah, go ahead. I called it last time.
I'm hearing the same thing over and over again. The superintendent of schools, if they feel there's going to be a health issue involving sports, regardless of this resolution, they're going to shut it down. So I have every confidence that this resolution, and it's the same thing as what was said on your announcement today. And I have all the confidence in the world in the school administration.
Sounds good, Mr. Drake. Okay. Last call. I'll call the question. Yes, did you have Mr. Monticelli?
Yes, Chairman, I did say this, but I wanted to repeat it so people understand where I'm coming from. It isn't the resolution. It's the timing. At 3:30 this afternoon, my head was in my bathroom vanity replacing a faucet. And my phone goes off, ding, 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 ding. By the time I get to look at it and then realize there's a resolution, I'm like, when am I supposed to figure this all out by? Meeting at 6 o'clock. There's things that one must do, as Legislator Peck went off to birth a cow. There's things people have to do, and at 3 hours to conclude our resolution, especially when there was a press release that seemed to already resolve the problem. I sent that press release to the constituents, two families that were in my district that have been concerned about this. They responded immediately saying, oh, thank you. This is what we were hoping for. And now the county, I mean, I don't feel anywhere near prepared to vote on a resolution. So because I don't feel prepared, I'm going to vote no.
That's fine. So, we still issue, regardless of everything that happened today, there's still this executive order that has a gathering limit. And we can't get clarification from the state. I think some other folks on this call forwarded the state person to them, and they will tell you the same thing. There's tremendous conflict between the executive order from the governor, the guidance from school sports, and then you've got wedding guidance out there. There's a lot of guidance that is colliding with each other. We have Mr. Hageman as my witness. How many times do we bring that forward to the people on our calls day in and day out for 2 weeks now, and plus emails that we've sent to them. So we still have that situation out there. That has to be resolved. We'll just have to go with the flow with whatever the executive order determination is.
Yeah.
If it comes down to 50 people, it comes down to 50 people. So with that, I'll call the question. All in favor?
Can we do a roll call?
Aye.
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 Opposed?
No.
One opposed. Did you get that, Mr. Eggman?
I have that, sir.
Okay. That will conclude. Anything else to come before the board this evening? Any other questions, comments, or issues? Yes, Manchitelli.
Thank you, Chairman. It is with great esteem that I've watched and appreciated your actions on our behalf as our chairman, but also as the highest elected official in the county, was working on this pandemic for now a year, which is unbelievable. But what comes to mind when I say that to you, I hope this comes across the way I intended. You're elected by the 14 of us, not by the whole county. So of all the people, I would think, who appreciate what you're doing, the 14 of us should appreciate it the most. That's just in my head. I haven't solicited anyone to support what I'm saying, but I put myself in your place, or at least I try to, and I think, my God, I don't have the energy, the time. Maybe I have the commitment if I dig down deep, but I can't imagine doing all the work you're doing on behalf of us as the county legislature to resolve the issues of this pandemic for now a year. God bless you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. So this is much larger than just me. I mean, the administration is, I run around this place like we're on fire. Everybody's busy in the public, there's a lot of people. It's too numerous to mention. And, I will tell you that, the media is all focused on the anniversary, the year anniversary of this thing. I just did. Spectrum TV is doing a statewide piece on it. And so Ginger and I was able to pull Ginger in because we did it at the clinic, although she would not speak, but we got a lot of camera roll of her. So, and I think the paper is doing a piece on the anniversary of it. But let me just tell you, this is much larger. I mean, you've got dedicated employees that have brought this situation home. I mean, and they are working their tails off. Trust me. And we're we're 12 weeks into the new phase of this thing, which is what's going to bring everything home, to a sense of normalcy, and that is the vaccination process. And if you haven't stopped by the clinics, any of the clinics when they're operating, you you've got to see it. It's just, it's remarkable to see the people working. It is remarkable to watch the people getting vaccinated and the sense of relief that they have and the smiles that it's a happy place. It's where I go for, to see smiling faces on a given day during this whole year endeavor that we've been in. And, I watched a young person with a comorbidity last week, and he had a developmental disability, and it took him probably 45 minutes to get him vaccinated. And the vaccinators were all surrounding him, trying to comfort him. And, when they finally got him vaccinated, he got up and he started hugging every person that was near him. It was a remarkable sight. With that, I'll conclude. Anything else to come before this board? None? Motion to adjourn?
First,
Second?
Paris.
All in favor? Click the little
Aye.
buttons.
Aye.
Aye. Everybody, take care.
Good night, everybody.